So this is my video after watching the new Helluva Boss Season 1, Episode 1, Mission 0, which is the replacement for the pilot. It is the official Season 1, Episode 1 now, that Amazon dropped today. And it was pretty good. I think the pilot is better in terms of comedy, while the new episode is better in terms of story and the current story going on now and just the plot of the show as a whole. Um, Stolas was back to his provocative self, which I did not appreciate. I didn't like Stolas in the early seasons, but over time I got to like him as a character. I just didn't like when he was a big sexual character. That was his main characteristic. Um, but the reason I'm making a video talking about the like a reaction of this way, kind of like how I did with JoJo, is because I physically can't record it due to it being on Amazon. Amazon has this prevention to where if you try and record anything, it blacks out the video. Meaning, I cannot react to Season 1, Episode 1 for Mission 0 until it comes on out on YouTube, which is a month later. So hopefully this is the only episode that will be dropped immediately on Amazon. Otherwise, this is going to be the new format for both Helluva Boss and Has Been Hotel content for not just me, but every YouTuber who reacts to those. Which I think, from what I know, Danny Moda being one of the biggest ones, because that's like his main thing. That's what he's known for. So it's gonna cause a downfall in a lot of reaction videos. But there will still be reaction videos like the Hollow Knight, that is still happening. I just wanted to record this today because it's recent. It just came out today. So I'd rate the episode a 7 or 8 out of 10. Reason it's not 10 out of 10 or super good but not super bad. I would even go as low to give it a 5. And I'm not saying in a bad way. Like, go watch it. It's worth watching because it explains how Stolas and Blitz actually got to make the deal of getting the grimoire. So it is important and it has important content in it. Go watch it if you are a fan of Helluva Boss. But only reason I'm giving it such a low rating is because the pilot, and I might just be nostalgia blinded. Some people might like this better than the pilot. I just think the pilot was better. It had more quotable things. It was funnier. It showed off the characters in the show better. The what we got now was more or less what the characters are like now. It was, hey, all the character development that we see now, and we got to know these characters over time, is kind of put into this one tiny 10-minute long span instead of how we get to know them over the show. Meaning, hey, we start off as, and some jokes were changed or some weren't even there. Like the, no, he's not, you bitch. Just, like, only reason you have a wife is because you're easy to manage. That whole thing isn't there. The kid isn't in the office. The hospital scene, we need a doctor. Stat. That, what the fuck's insurance? None of that is there. The only joke that they kept the same was, sorry, I fucked your husband. That was the only joke. Which I'm glad they kept, but with how iconic the other ones are, it just didn't feel right. And it definitely fits in perfectly to the show. It's just, if you've seen the pilot prior, and been watching Helluva Boss since the pilot, it feels off, and it just doesn't feel like Helluva Boss. It doesn't feel right. But it also still feels like Helluva Boss. It just doesn't feel like the beginnings of it. It seems more like they're repurposing everything. Like the Immediate Murder Professional song is different. It's changed. Blitz seems like he's trying to be a better father when we already kind of know he isn't. we see a lot of sex between Blitz and Stolas and Millie and Moxie. And that really was kind of the whole episode. At least I think 5 minutes of the episode was just sex scenes. Um, it, like I said, it wasn't bad. It just felt like filler, really shitty filler than what they could have done. And I mean shitty filler in terms of what we had before. It's just not as good. It's not a bad episode. If they made it a one-off episode, like a genuine just, oh yeah, this is the next episode of Helluva Boss, it would have been fine. Like it would have been fine. It would have been not a great episode, but a good one. Um, but they didn't. It's supposed to be the replacement, like a remake of the pilot, which I feel just wasn't needed. It does fill in holes though that the pilot has. This is where we're gonna start getting into the positives because there's a lot more positive than negative aspects of this. And one of them being it fills in the holes. So if we're counting the pilot and Mission Zero as both canon things where they're one big thing together, we get all the holes in the original pilot filled in with this episode, which is great. The relationships represented way better. They don't seem like they hate each other. We actually see, yeah, they dislike each other and they fight, but they're kind of like a family, which over time, that's how it ends up being. We see Blitz being a friend to Moxie and Millie instead of just actually dog shitting on them, while still kind of having his original tone of boundaries not being there. Moxie and Millie actually kind of, loving each other, being all lovey-dovey in like a relationship when they first got into the relationship, when I.M.P was starting. We also see Luna being a good daughter almost immediately instead of just seeing the one bad side to her, but we get to see the side of her where she just doesn't really care, if that makes sense. We get to see both sides. So for an episode one, it definitely works slightly better in terms of developing the characters because it fits in better with the story. And the characters, we see both sides to these characters instead of just one sided pure comedy. We see that they care for each other and they're not like the other demons. The reason they founded I.M.P is because they want revenge for these people, not just to kill people for fun. That, hey, imps torturing people in that universe, it's outdated. They're lower demons who are treated like shit and they want to be respected. And they represent that a lot better. So they represent the storyline and the character personalities better. We see Blitz and Stolas. We see it represented as a toxic relationship almost immediately. So you kind of, but not fully there. So like you can kind of get the idea that hey, this isn't gonna work out, because we see how Blitz is. And we see that Stolas is already madly in love with him. It's not just he's horny like how it originally was. He's genuinely loving him. So I think in terms of the benefit of the show, it's better. But when it comes to iconic phrases and comedy, that's where it falters. And like I said, it's not a bad episode. It's definitely needed, but I feel like what they should have done is have this and the pilot and fuse them together to where, because they could make it work to where certain scenes from this in Mission Zero are just added on to the pilot. So you get comedy and you get these relationships of the characters. It would be like 40, 50 minutes long, but it would definitely be way more beneficial than what it already is. But I will say it's definitely more positives than negatives. I would recommend checking it out. I personally just don't like it because, like I said, nostalgia, and all in all, just the comedy of early Olivia Boss wasn't really there. But they kept all the other episodes the same, so you can get that in the other episodes. And I'm looking forward to the next episode and seeing how things play out with this show and the series. But I do believe, if I'm not wrong, this is the last episode of Olivia Boss that we are getting for the rest of the year, because they're going to focus on Has Been Hotel, which comes out in October, which we will do videos like this on, considering we won't be able to record it unless we find a way to where we can record it. Because otherwise, then we might kind of be kind of out of luck. Shit, out of luck. Uh, but we will figure out something. So I will see you guys next time. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Thank you for tuning in. And without further ado, I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye!